The fuck? God damn it! My fucking audio cut out for the first. Fuck! God damn! Alright, fuck it. Right, okay, well, now I have to explain everything again. Alright, well, quick summary of what, like, I just went through. Gotta be fucking kidding! God damn it! Quick summary of what I just went through. Ottoman Empire is fucking shit. They got overthrown by the Young Turks, who basically overthrew the Sultan, and they created a police force, bureaucracy, and some other wacky tacky shit. Everybody's gonna get into a war because of alliances and nationalism, because everybody thinks they're fucking invincible and on top of the fucking world. And so alliances happen in that Austria gets their leader assassinated by Serbia, who then and gets the war declared on by Austria-Hungary. This causes the motherfucking Germans to declare war on them as well, which causes Russia to declare war, which causes France to declare war. So Germany follows the Schlieffen plan to first attack France, completely fucking dominate them, and then go back to deal with fucking Russia. Problem is they have to try to go through Belgium. And when they try to go through Belgium, Belgium says, go fuck yourself. And then Britain comes in and also says, go fuck yourself. And so Germany has to fight through Belgium, which is muddy as hell, and then they get to Paris, where they get like 14 miles away until France just starts throwing everything they possibly fucking can at the Western Front, and then they build fucking trenches, and each of these fucking trenches pops up, and nobody can fucking move because there are machine guns on each side gunning down anybody who comes out of each trench, until all these motherfuckers are stuck in a stalemate that they can't win. Okay. Moving on. Fuck. How the fuck did I not notice the fucking mic was off? God damn. Okay. Damn, I need to check this shit before I do this shit next time. Alright. When you get triggered. Alright. So, moving on from the absolute hellhole that was the fucking Western Front. No, we'll leave the alliances up there. That seems handy. Alright, moving on from the absolute hellhole that was the fucking Western Front. Let's go to sea, where basically the German high seas fleet. Yeah, and the high seas is actually capitalized in it's fucking hilarious. It's the German high seas fleet. High seas fleet. This is not important. I just find it funny that they capitalize everything all fancy and proper. But they got one chance after being built with a huge shit ton of money. They got one chance to fight at the Battle of Jutland, where they got their ass kicked by the British Grand Fleet. So, they got fucked. Right. And so, after they realized, well, the fleet's not gonna do anything, let's send our submarines. So basically what happened was submarines torpedoed everything they possibly could. Merchant ships, dead. Normal military ships, dead. Passenger ships like the Lusitania, dead. They at first tried to go with restricted sub-warfare until they kind of went like, well, we could just fucking not. And so that's led to the sinking of the Lusitania. And when the United States protested, they weren't like, oh shit, we don't want the United States in this shit. It's fine, okay, we stop. And so they went like, alright, we'll stop. Because nobody wants America to come in. Because America, at the current, is just making a shit ton of money selling everything that Europe needs so that they can get money. So, I mean, it's pretty good for the United States so far. Alright. And, with other weapons, airplanes. Shit. They use for reconnaissance. Poison gas killed everybody. Tanks did jack shit. Moving on to the home front. Oh, the home front. And The home front. Basically, with all the men gone off shooting shit, women actually got jobs and shit. Holy shit. So basically, whenever all the men left, women at home filled their spots. They got all the fucking jobs. It was pretty fucking cool. But however, civilians had to do the following things: work harder, or get less food, and pay higher taxes, because war efforts be expensive, right? So unemployment, however, basically fucking vanished, because you better have a fucking job if your country's going to war, okay? Everybody, everybody who was anybody was coming in and doing their part to create shit to kill more people. Oh. And people like Britain and France got their colonies into this shit too, right? They forced all their colonies and protectorates and all that shit to do all of these things, but worse. Worse for colonies. Okay? Backbreaking work, and they conscripted people from all the colonies, India, Africa, all this shit. So they could throw more people into the death and destruction and hellhole that was the Western Front. So, and Germans had it especially hard. See, Britain had it fucking easy because they have all the colonies, right? But Germans are stuck in the middle of a fucking continent with like one port that's blocked by the British. I know it's a really terrible drawing, but there. So they had absolute jack shit. Yeah, quoting from the book, wheat flour disappeared, replaced first by rye, then potatoes and turnips, then acorns and chestnuts, and then by sawdust. So, yeah, they got fucked over. But, yeah. More of the story is the United States gets rich from selling shit to everybody. Like, holy crap. War profiteering to the extreme. So much in this fucking chapter. Alright. Moving on to the Ottoman Empire. They basically signed a secret alliance and were like, fucking hell, let's join Germany. They seem to be pretty fucking cool. And so they go on the attack. What the hell? What the fuck? What the fuck? Doesn't actually talk about the Ottoman Empire fighting. But it does talk about Gallipoli and the Arab Revolt. Wow, there's like 3 sentences on each of these things. Anyway, well, I guess I'll have to do it then. Gallipoli! British try to go to France, they get fucked over. British try to go to Turkey, get fucked over. British to Dardanelles. Gets fucked. Arab Revolt is basically Lawrence of Arabia. Lawrence of Arabia goes to Saudi Arabia. Gets an asshole named Faisal to lead a revolt against the Turks. That's the asset's name, Faisal. Okay. And so the British also made promises to the Jews by saying, hey, let's follow this thing called Zionism, where we make a Jewish homeland. Doesn't this sound fucking amazing, y'all? Well, and a bunch of people agreed to them. And because no, a bunch of people were racist to the Jews. They were anti-Semites. They said, fuck them. Let them go wherever the fuck they want. Let's stand on moral high ground and still hate them. And so they went like, let's give them a hometown. No. Is that something? Nope. And so, the Zionism was the movement to make a Jewish homeland, led by this asshat, Theodore Asshat. And they wanted to return to their place in Palestine. And so, as British armies are advancing on Jerusalem, Sir Arthur Balfour made the Balfour Declaration. His Majesty's government view with favour the establishment in Palestine of a national home for the Jewish people, and will use their best endeavours to facilitate the achievement of that object, it being clearly understood that nothing shall be done which may prejudice the civil and religious rights of existing non-Jewish communities in Palestine, which led to prejudicing the civil and religious rights of existing non-Jewish communities in Palestine. Leading to all the problems you hear of today with Israel and Palestine. Wow, that shit's still happening. Why? Because we done fucked it up. I don't need to talk about that now. We get to talk about Russia now. Oh. Whew. This chapter is really confusingly written. Like, seriously. Like, 3 sentences on the Arab Revolt after talking about the United States arsenal, and now we're in Russia. Because clearly that's how you fucking go. I don't know. Maybe I'm... Alright, so, at the beginning of the war, Russia had the largest army in the world. And then, they started running out of ammunition and other shit, and they couldn't get that shit. Like, people were ordered into battle, well, unarmed, and told, when that guy dies next to you, pick up his gun. And then they went to the guy standing next to him, said, and then when that guy dies after picking up the other guy's gun, pick up his gun. Right? It was fucking bad. And then Tsar Nicholas II was basically like, fuck this shit, I'm rich. So, early March 1917, food ran out in St. Petersburg, which was the capital at the time. And basically, everybody mutinied against the government. And so, this guy the February Revolution led by Alexander Asshat, the other asshat, made a provisional government because Tsar Asshat II was fucking terrible. Okay? Well, and for reference, Kaiser Asshat II is Wilhelm, Tsar Asshat II is Nicholas, and Alexander Asshat is Alexander Kerensky, but I'm too lazy to say their last names because I'm a lazy-ass motherfucker. And so, people who were originally hunted by the Tsar's police came out of hiding. Mainly people like the Bolsheviks. These are the important people. Everybody else who gives a fucking shit, but the Bolsheviks, led by Lenin, who eventually become the communists, are the important people here. And you probably know what happens here because you probably know what the fuck the Cold War is. And if you don't, shame on you. We'll talk about it later. And then they basically go like, alright, fuckers, Soviet revolt. Soviet meaning worker. Soviet revolt, bitch. And so they basically rose up and just destroyed the government and took over the government for themselves. That was arresting anybody and killing anybody in their way. And so Lenin, leading the Bolsheviks, sues sues for peace with Germany and Austria-Hungary. So now the Germans are like, "Oh, fuck yeah, bitch. Look at this shit. It's time to go. It's time to fucking get this shit done, huh?" And so Woodrow Wilson, because we're talking about America again, like most Americans, wanted to stay out of the conflict. Because, basically, why should I go into war if I can just make money off of war? Uh, 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 uh. But they eventually went to war because this late 1916, German leaders went like, you know that unrestricted sub-warfare that pissed off the United States? Let's go back. Let's go back to that. Alright. So, let's greenlight that project again. Okay. Hey, and so basically when United States went like, motherfucker, you gonna get destroyed. Alright, so, January 1918, Wilson went like, let's drop these 14 points. Where we're basically going to negotiate this like civilized people with all of the parties and say, hey, let's do things right. And so, Germans went like, that sounds like a good fucking idea. Yeah. And in the meantime, Allies counterattacked and the Germans started retreating farther than they ever did before. And the Weimar, and as Kaiser Assad II was overthrown, and Germany was then led under the Weimar Republic. And they basically said, get us the fuck out of this war. I'm done. And at 11 a.m. on November 11th, Veterans Day, war is over. That's it. So, impact of the war. How long has this been already? Shit. That's pretty fucking long. That's fine. Oh, man, this is gonna be a long video, isn't it? Oh well, can't be helped when a long chapter. So, impacts of the war. How many people died? 8 to 10 million people died. Right. Just from the war. Exactly 2 million Germans, 1.7 million Russians, 1.7 million Frenchmen, 1.5 million Austro-Hungarians, 1 million British people, 460,000 Italians, and 115,000 Americans. And perhaps twice as many returned home wounded, gassed, shell-shocked, and probably injured for life. And also, all the wars and revolutions and shit from Germany and Russia and Austria-Hungary forced 2 million Russians, 750,000 Germans, and 400,000 Hungarians to flee their homes. Cause, shit, gotta get the fuck out. And also, there's this thing called the flu. And there ain't no vaccines or cures at this point. So, flu epidemic kills 20 million people worldwide. Like, 500,000 Americans died, which is 5 times as many as those who died in the war. And also, when you bomb to hell a huge stretch of land and destroy it and build trenches, it's not exactly easy to build a town on top of that shit. And that would take decades. But now, let's talk about the peace treaties, which were shit. So, instead of following the 14 points, which would have been nice and probably would have led to the prevention of World War II, because this shitty peace treaty is what kind of led everybody, everybody to World War II, 3 men dominated the conference. President Wilson, of America, Prime Minister David Lloyd George, of the UK, and let's see, Premier George's asshat. George's asshat. And basically they said, you know all those other guys who helped us, and you know the enemies who we should be negotiating with? Fuck them. So all these people, well, were basically ignored at the conference, including the Italians, smaller European nations, because not even the book's going to mention them by name, the Japanese, who basically helped them out with all the colonies, the Pan-African Congress, organized by the African Americans, by the African American W.E.B. Du Bois, tens of 10,000 other delegates of other nationalities, these that did not represent sovereign states, like the Arab guy Faisal, the Zionist Chaim Weizmann, and a bunch of Armenians. And basically, it was, in quoting that Balfour guy, 3 all-powerful, all-ignorant men sitting there and carving up continents. Which basically mean 3 assholes fucking up everything. And so, Wilson went like, hey, let's make a League of Nations, and we'll defend everybody from everything, and we'll keep the peace, and it'll be great. And it kind of got fucked over, because the United States actually didn't join because Congress didn't let us, because we're fucking stupid. And, so the result of all of this was a treaty that satisfied nobody, and was pretty fucking stupid. So here are the things that Germany could now not do. They could not trade. They had to pay. They could not have a military or navy of any sort. They had to pay $36 billion. How the fuck are they gonna do that with no trade? Don't fucking know. They had to accept the guilt for the war, even though it was all caused by a Serbian shooting an Austro-Hungarian heir to the throne. Yes. Austro-Hungarian Empire fell the fuck apart into the countries of Poland, Czechoslovakia, Yugoslavia. And also, civil war broke out in Russia, by the way, because, it kind of got fucked over still. So, hold up a second. So basically, it was the communists versus the czarists. Because, people didn't like the communists, even in Russia, obviously. And so, eventually, communists win. And then, the Red Army starts conquering places and creating the USSR, otherwise known as the United... Sorry. Oh, no, that's not it. The Union of Soviet Socialist Republics. Right? And then, so, in 1923, Lenin realizes, I'm kind of leading a country that's an actual shithole. And so he creates the new economic policy, allowing some small businesses and some small things to actually be private instead of public, like the communist and socialist ideologies provide for. And so, immediately, production began to climb, everybody was a little bit more happy, but communists went like, we are going to make a place without private property Believe me, you will see, motherfucker. And so, in order to do this, that meant they had to do a lot of shit for the urban workers and get a lot of money from somewhere. And since it wasn't going to be the guys with money, it was going to be the guys without money, which is going to be the poor peasants, the Soviet people. And that basically made them go like, fuck you, asshole. So when Lenin dies in 1924, or it's between Trotsky, and Stalin. Stalin basically he appoints the people to power to vote him into power and chases Trotsky out of Russia, who's eventually killed in 1940 to an ice picks and or climbing axe to the back of the head. Ouch. Trotsky was trying to advocate for a socialist revolution across the world while Stalin went like, how about no? So, no. So, after the war, everybody looked at themselves, especially Europe, and realized we might have fucked up here. Because everybody was worse off, except for a very notable exception we'll cover later. Right? Everybody had millions of men die, supply lines cut, things were destroyed. I mean, like, shit, man, things were absolutely fucking wrecked, right? Arabs, Indians don't have independence. Chinese, fucked over. Japanese, fucked over. Everybody, fucked over. Wow! No. And in 1923, Germany stopped paying reparations for a moment and started printing a shit ton of cash. So much so that you needed a wheelbarrow full of dough. Okay? You need a wheelbarrow full of dough. In order, and this is a really terrible drawing, but you need a wheelbarrow full of dough to buy a loaf of bread. And because they just printed a shit ton of money. So it was the worst inflation ever. If you're wondering what inflation is, it's when there's too much fucking money and everything costs too fucking much and the and income hasn't adjusted and you're pretty much fucked. And so they went like, oh shit. And so they made a new currency. Boom. And the reparations problem seemed to vanish as Germans borrowed money from New York to pay to France and Britain, who used that money to repay wartime loans to the United States. So, Germany gets money from the U.S., pays it to France, who pays it to the U.S., who gives it to Germany, and on and on and on and on. Right? So the mid-20s was actually good for once in a fucking lifetime. Right. However, the League of Nations couldn't really do jack shit. Because, the United States, which proposed it, didn't participate because Congress didn't want them to. So, RIP League of Nations. Man, is this gonna be longer than my first video? God damn. Ugh, so much shit. Motherfucker. Why? It's so long. We only covered half of it. God damn. Okay, I'm gonna speed this shit up. I'm done. Basically, China. I'm just gonna go through this shit real fast. Also, we're done with World War I. It's over now. Hooray! Hey, I'm just gonna put down chapter 20. Okay, so. China was fucked over by foreigners because they couldn't do jack shit. Okay. And also opium addiction was kind of a big fucking problem, and on and on and on. Japan, no resources, no land to grow food on. They had to import everything. And that created people called the New Rich, which included which was called the American. So the big cities, Mobos were modern boys, and Mogas were modern girls, which basically did such scandalous things as dancing, and wearing short skirts and tight pants and behaving like Americans. The Japanese are like, oh, what the fuck? Who the fuck cares? And so Japanese basically depended on foreign trade. So it was basically vulnerable to swings in the world economy. Oh, and elaborating a bit more on the Chinese, basically all the Chinese were living like shit, while all the foreigners that were living in China were living the life. It's tiring. Holy shit. Okay, so moving on to the revolutions and shit. 1900, Empress Asshat of China basically went over to the Boxers, or the Righteous Fist, or the Boxers, to rise up against the foreigners and kick them out. And basically, they got fucked over, and Beijing was captured, and China had to pay a huge fucking debt. And so, and then a bunch of Chinese students went like, being the students that we are, that like to rebel, we should probably rebel at some point soon. After she be dead, and another guy comes in named Sun Yat-sen. I can actually say his name. We don't have to call him Assad. Sun Yat-sen. Prepared to take over with a revolutionary alliance. It's to overthrow the Qing dynasty. Problem is, the military, he kind of stopped that shit. Because the military at the moment for the Qing was split up. Terrible China drawing. That's actually super bad. Okay. That's less... Okay, not really terrible bad. Anyway, so it was split up into different regions. This is just a representation. But it was split up into regional armies. And so those regional armies kind of went like, alright, fuck you, bitch. And so, Revolutionary Assembly first elects Sun Yat-sen, but he doesn't have a military. Because the military isn't doing anything. And so, eventually, a guy named Yuan Shikai, who was the leader of the military, gets elected, and basically China starts becoming a military state. Rip, dude. Oh yeah, and so when the Japanese joined up with the Allies in World War One, they took over the German parts of China, and then the Allies said, "You keep them," and the China were fucking pissed. The Chinese were fucking pissed. They're like, "You know what? Go fuck yourself." And so now we have a new generation of students going like, "Go fuck yourself." Okay. And so then after Sun Yat-sen dies and all that disappears. New guy comes up named... Oh, I'm fucking tired. New guy comes up named... Asshat. So Asshat over here... Chiang Kai-shek. I'm gonna call him Asshat. Asshat over here basically became the leader of China. And he said, fuck the communists, and then established a dictatorship. And then he tried to build railroads and industrialize China, but his officers were corrupt as shit and wouldn't do anything except get more money. So they were fucked. And so China, as we leave it, is knee-deep in shit and poverty with corrupt officers and officials. Rip China. When I start to do the lab report. Rep. Oh my god. Alright. Am I almost done here? Nope! Still moving on. So, in regards to Africa and the Middle East, the powers decided to make this stupid ass thing called the mandate system, which was the stupidest fucking thing ever, treating all the countries there like absolute shit, like they were just fucking animals. Class C was basically your barbaric shit. We need to civilize you. Class C was your less barbaric shit, but you ain't civilized yet. And class A, the minorities countries or whatever, was you okay, but fuck you. Okay? But fuck you. Okay? And so basically all that meant was all of them were occupied by the British because fuck them, bitch. And so yeah, and so Turkey is created out of this place. Turkey is created under the leadership of a guy named Mustafa Kemal. All right, he leads another rebellion to take out the leader and create a new country that's supposedly better than ever before. Right? And they expel all the fucking Greeks from their ancestral homes in Anatolia, and the Greeks expel all the Muslims from Greece. And so Kemal basically says, alright, it's time to modernize. And so he brings in, he breaks with Islamic tradition, declares them a secular republic, introduces European laws, suppresses Muslim courts, schools, religious orders, replaces the Arabic alphabet with the Latin alphabet. Women have now received civil equality, including the right to vote. He forbade polygamy, instituted civil marriage and divorce, changes people's clothing by saying, don't veil your faces, woman, and don't wear fezzes, wear a European brimmed hat. And he even changed his family name to Ataturk, otherwise known as Father of the Turk, which meant Father of the Turks. Which spread all these reforms were quick through cities, but slow in rural areas because Islamic traditions remain strong, my dude. Oh my god. Oh my god. What does he even say? What the hell? Okay, in all the rest of the Arab lands, and they basically just fucking modernized trucks, replaced camels, and also the middle class, encouraged by the Turkey transformation, get Western ideas, customs, styles of housing and clothing, and people sent their children to the Western schools, and yeah, and all the countries are trying to basically check themselves before they fucking wreck themselves. Britain and the Middle East basically just controlled it with a mixture of bribery and intimidation. They made Faisal king of Iraq and used bombers to quell the rural insurrections. And they basically said to all of their colonies, fuck you, you're kind of independent, but you're not. Right. They basically said, you're independent, but we reserve the right to station troops there, and we also get to influence your government, and we also get to keep people there, and we also get some of your money. And they're like, aren't we still a colony? And they're like, yes, but you're independent. Because go fuck yourself. Oh. So, and also, there's that thing with Zionism, where they moved a bunch of, where they moved as many Jewish people as they could to Palestine. Fucking problem, people live in Palestine. And so now we have people fighting between the Jewish and the indigenous Palestinians, and basically everybody hates Britain. Is anybody still watching this? Yes. Yes, they are. Okay. Oh, I'm sorry this video is so long. This is just such a long chapter. Oh my god. Okay. So, moving on to society and culture, I'm just gonna blast through this through the past. Women have more rights than ever before, but that's not a lot of rights, but they do have the right to vote now, and they have a little bit more jobs, but they're kicked out of all the jobs that they got during the war. Well, now then, and then, and also got a lady named Margaret Sanger, basically advocates for birth control and creates the first birth control clinic. However, in France, they prohibit the contraception and abortion because they kind of needed to make up for losing most of their population. Nation. There's revolutions in the sciences with people like Max Planck and Albert Einstein creating shit like the quanta, like we just learned in physics, which created a new theory of physics, which was the general relativity theory, which is like, holy shit, this is so fucking insane. And then to non-scientists, they went like, what the fuck is this? I can't even understand. What does this letter mean? What the fuck? But this would eventually promise to unlock sources of energy like nuclear power. Or social sciences wise, we got my boy Sigmund Freud, alright, saying, hey, we're actually all savages on the inside. And then all the Western civilizations went like, damn, well, that new imperialism ideology of we're trying to civilize savages kind of seems a little bit fucked over now. No. And then another guy named Emil Durkheim, psychologist. Let's see. And then another guy named Emil Durkheim. So many names in this chapter. Emil Durkheim went like, well, you know what? All religions are sociologist went like, you know what? All the religions are kind of the fucking same. And that there are no religions that are false, and all are true after their own fashion. And so basically, all the Western people were like, "Well, shit, we might have fucked up here," and they did fuck up there. And then there are new technologies of the modern age, which only really applied to the people rich enough to afford them, but it was still cool, and people were like, "Oh shit, this shit is cool." Like planes. Wilbur and Orville Wright made the first plane. Electricity and radio, which makes new electric light bulbs and radios that play music and shows and shit. And then there's movies, which was booming in shit places like fucking Japan, India, Turkey, Egypt, and obviously fucking Hollywood. But in 1927, United States makes the first talking film called The Jazz Singer. And people are like, oh shit, that's fucking cool. And health improves around the world as people start going like, hey, actually science. And then they made new things like x-rays, and they actually disinfected wounds, and they actually said, hey, let's actually clean ourselves. Oh shit, that's cool. And also people started building skyscrapers because that shit was cool, and then the automobile let people basically move out to wherever the fuck they wanted so that they could drive wherever they needed to, and they could live farther from work because they could drive to work. And is there anything else? And then there's cool ass motherfucking skyscrapers like the Woolworth Building and the Empire State Building. However, European cities in France went like, we're going to protect our architectural heritage. Don't build shit over 56 feet or 17 meters high. And we're like, okay. And they made cool shit. Which was called the International Style. which was followed by Ludwig Mies, I don't know how to pronounce his name, Walter Gropius, and Frank Lloyd Wright, who made cool buildings that you should definitely check out. He's American. And so now you've got this thing called suburban sprawl, where there's suburbs everywhere around the city now because everybody can fucking drive wherever the fuck they want. And there's and then in 1915 Ford made a gasoline powered tractor, and then these things replaced horses. And then they started building fucking dams so that they could irrigate dry lands and make electricity. And oh shit, we're done. That's it. We're done here. World War I fucked everybody over except for the United States, introduced new technologies in both battle and in civil life, redrew the boundaries of Europe, and